Yo, what's good, everybody? We are here with the tier list of the Legends of the Franchise cards. And I just want to start this out by saying that all of these cards are really incredible. Almost every single one is usable. There's just a couple that we're going to show in the beginning that aren't. We're going to go from F tier all the way up to S tier. If you like this sort of content, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. And let's get to the tier list. We're starting off in F tier. Just keep in mind that each of these cards in each tier is not ranked in any type of individual way. Because most of these cards are really good and really usable, it doesn't really make that much of a difference which ones you pick from each tier. Except for F tier, you're not going to want to use these guys. Cy Young is our first. He's got a bad pitch mix and he's only got 2 speeds. Basically, his fastball goes 90 something miles an hour and all 4 of the other pitches are going to be in the 70s. Cy Young is a useless card. Next in F tier is Brett Saberhagen. He does have 114 walks per 9 and he does have 106 hits per 9, but that pitch mix is horrendous. He does have 3 different speeds on his pitches. Changeup, curveball, slider, fastball. You're probably not doing great things with that. Ozzy Smith is gonna round out F tier. He has no power. 72 versus righties is not getting the job done. He is a switch hitter, which is really nice for him, but he only plays one position. There's tons of guys that play secondary positions. There's tons of really good cards. We're moving on to E tier. These are gonna be guys that are a step above F tier. They're gonna come with slightly better attributes, slightly better power, but it's still not going to be enough power. They gave us so many great cards in this program that Tony Gwynn just really doesn't have enough power. Now, the thing about Tony Gwynn is that people really love his swing. His defense is incredible. His speed is really good. Tony Gwynn, you might want to use him, try him out, but personally, I don't think that Tony Gwynn should really touch your outfield with how many great outfielders dropped in this program. Ryne Sandberg kind of suffers from the same problems as Tony Gwynn. He doesn't quite have triple-digit power, and also his contact versus right is significantly lower than Tony Gwynn. These guys are kind of going to be line-out machines. He does have incredible defense. He does play 2 other secondaries, and he's got great speed, but unless you're a Cubs fan, I don't see a reason to use Sandberg. Joe Morgan, same exact argument. He just doesn't quite have enough power. He does have many different secondaries, so that makes him a little bit more interesting maybe. He's got better fielding, but his stats versus lefties are just not really gonna play. And the final guy rounding out my E tier, Durham is probably a worse hitter than the other guys we talked about in this tier, and he doesn't really provide much outside of switch hitting. He does play center field secondary, which is a big bonus, but honestly, Ray Durham, even with the switch hitting, is probably not worth it. Next up is 4 guys in the D tier. We got Todd Helton, who has way more power than the previous set of guys. The only kind of knock on Helton is that he only plays first base. You don't really want to put him in the corner outfield positions. Sure, 58 speed, you could probably get away with it in left field, but Todd Helton is not such an overwhelming hitter that you really want to put him out there. Andre Dawson is kind of more well-rounded than the other guys that are on this D list. He has less issues as a part of his card. If you really wanted to use him, you could. He wouldn't be a bad choice. The knock against him is that there's a ton of really good outfielders that came out in this program. Another reason Dawson took a hit down to D tier is because most people don't like his swing, but if you do like his swing, he's gonna be an excellent bench bat for you, and honestly, he's a well-rounded player. You can always insert him in your lineup. The next D tier guy is Wade Boggs. The reason that he got bumped down to D tier is because he's a third baseman. At first glance, he's actually a really great card. He's got max contact versus both-handed pitching. He's got 96 power and 93 power. He plays good defense. The only issue with Wade Boggs is that he plays third base, first base, and left field, and we've gotten a ton of those guys throughout the year at those positions, and they're all better than him. And the final D tier guy is Willie Mccovey, and he kind of suffers from the same problems problems is Wade Boggs. He's a first baseman. He's only got 42 speed and bad defense. You don't want him in your outfield under any circumstances. The only thing is, Willie Mccovey does have a really nice swing. So again, much like Andre Dawson, you could actually have Willie Mccovey as a really solid bench bat. As long as you really like his swing, he destroys right-handed pitching. We're moving on to the C tier, and the C tier is our biggest one because it's right in the middle. They're not quite amazing from this program. They're still incredible players, and they're not quite below average for the program. The first one we're talking about is AJ Burnett. Now, Burnett has 3 different pitch speeds, which is great for us. He's got pretty damn solid pitches. The only issue with him is that his control on the slider is really bad. He's only got 90 walks per 9. And so that PAR is going to be bigger than a normal pitcher. And to not be able to really control the slider, you're going to be hanging it a lot. So we got AJ Burnett as the first C tier player. Mike Schmidt is actually a really good hitter. 101, 108 contact, and then 111, 125 power. He's got almost maxed out defense, 63 speed. He plays third base, first base, second base, and shortstop. He's gonna be a defensive wizard at pretty much any of those positions that you put him at. My only issue with Mike Schmidt is that most people really hate his swing, and we have a ton of third basemen in the game right now, so Mike Schmidt fits firmly in the C tier. Tory Hunter is almost like the Mike Schmidt of outfielders, except that he has slightly less power and slightly more contact. He's got incredible defense at any of those outfield positions. He's got a lot more speed than Mike Schmidt, obviously, but this Tory Hunter card is kind of middle of the road when it comes to all the outfielders that they dropped on us. Again, Brooks Robinson fits in with those other 2 guys perfectly. Amazing fielding, plays third base, second, and short. He's got 100 power versus right and 91 power versus left. He's got incredible contact numbers. He fits firmly in this C tier right now. Now the next 3 C tier pitchers all kind of come with the caveat. I'm calling it the C plus tier because I don't think they're quite good enough to reach the B tier, but I really heavily debated putting them in there. But at the same time, they have their positives and their negatives. Cliffley is going to be the first guy that we're talking about. His negative is that he only has 103 hits per 9, but he does have 119 walks per 9, which is going to make that PAR very small. You're going to be able to dot with Cliffley. He also has incredible control over all of his pitches, and he throws 3 different speeds. He's got the sinker, cutter, circle change, and knuckle curveball. Between the break and control on these pitches, Cliffley could be really good if you know how to pitch with them, or he could kind of be a problem if you don't. Jared Weaver's the next C plus. He doesn't have great hits per 9, and he doesn't have great walks per 9, but he does have the 3 different speeds that we're looking for. He does kind of have a really ideal pitch mix with that sinker, slider, circle change, and then he's got the 12-6 curveball. He's got a ton of control on his pitches, and he's got incredible break. Jared Weaver again has his pluses and his minuses. I'm gonna have to use Jared Weaver more to really get a feel for whether or not he belongs in the B tier or the C tier. And Roy Oswald is the last C plus. He's got again a really good pitch mix. He's got again 3 different pitch speeds, but he does have a weak hits per 9, weak walks per 9. He's got control over everything except really kind of that changeup, and he's got a ton of break on all his pitches. Roy Oswald falls right in line with Weaver and Lee. Next up, we got the B tier, and Steve Finley is gonna be our first candidate. He's got incredible power. He's a left-handed center fielder with diamond defense, 82 speed. He can kind of do it all. The only slight issue with the Steve Finley card is the 104 contact versus right and 100 contact versus left. That's not to say that those are bad numbers. It's just that, you know, there's some other cards in this program that have much higher contact and kind of the same level of power. Tom Glavin comes in at B tier. because he has very, very good speed differentials. He doesn't have amazing walks per 9. It's only at 99. He's got 107 hits per 9, which is probably slightly above average at this point in the game, but he's got the real ideal pitch mix. He's got a 94-mile-an-hour sinker, a 76-mile-an-hour circle change, that 72-mile-an-hour sweeping curve, 86-mile-an-hour slider, and a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's got control on everything, at minimum 94 control on his pitches. Then he's got this incredible break on each pitch. His SIG series card earlier in the year was absolutely incredible. Tom Glavin was almost unhittable, and I feel like this card is gonna be just as good. Alan Trammell is kind of a shocker here in the B tier. We didn't expect this when he was announced, but this Alan Trammell card is really, really well balanced. Diamond defense, he plays short, second, third, left, and center field. I wouldn't have a problem throwing him in any of those positions, except for maybe center field would be a little bad because he's only got 70 speed, but he has 116 contact right, 125 contact left, 93 power right, and 100 power left. He's just all around a really, really well balanced card. An absolute surprise to me when this card dropped. Also in the B tier is going to be Pudge Rodriguez. Now, a lot of people don't really love his swing, but he has 99 fielding, 99 arm, 94 block. He has 97 accuracy on that arm. He's got 70 speed for a catcher, and he's got max contact versus righties and lefties to go along with 97 power right and 91 power left. Pudge is undoubtedly one of the best catchers in the game right now, and that's why he got the bump up to B tier despite people's problems with his swing. Similar to Alan Trammell, Jason Bay is a very well-rounded outfielder. His only real big knock is gonna be that 62 speed. His defense is really solid. You got diamond defense, you got 84 fielding, a 77 arm, and 85 reaction. Plus you got 110 contact versus right and 110 power versus right, and then 125 contact left and 101 power left. Jason Bay is just one of those guys that's really well rounded, and he's just not really a bad card. We're moving on to A tier. We finally are starting to get to the big guns, and the first guy we're talking about is Edgar Martinez. I know what you're thinking. Hey, you've been talking about how there's so many great third basemen and first basemen in the game, and yes, I do agree, but Edgar Martinez's hitting is on a different level. Maxed out contact versus righties and lefties, 106 power versus right, 114 power versus left. He's got decent enough fielding at 75 and a 73 reaction. His speed is not great, but at a corner infield position, it doesn't matter. 49 speed is totally fine. If you don't like your third baseman, or you're looking for a different one, or you just really need a great bench bat, Edgar Martinez is your guy. He absolutely pummels left-handed pitchers, and he's got an incredible swing. Edgar Martinez belongs in the A tier. Here we go again. Another saturated position, another guy in the A tier. It's Prince Fielder. He's a first baseman, and he is an absolute beast. Clearly one of the best hitting cards in the entire program. His defense is actually pretty damn good for a first baseman at 78 and 75 reaction. He's got 51 speed, which is perfectly fine for a first baseman, but 114 contact versus right, 108 contact versus left, 125 power versus right, and 120 power versus left. None of those stats can be ignored. Prince Fielder at minimum should be a bench bat for you. He's going to be basically a very upgraded version of David Ortiz. He absolutely pummels pitchers. Prince Fielder has one of the sweetest swings in the game. He hits home runs non-stop. I can't help but put Prince Fielder in the A tier. Ricky Henderson makes the A tier as well. This kind of shocked me. I wasn't expecting his card to be this damn good. 119 contact versus right and 111 contact versus left. He's only got 92 power versus right, but Ricky still hits home runs. 105 power versus left. Then he has diamond defense. He's got 88 fielding, 92 reaction. He's only got a 78 arm, but you could still throw him out there in center field or left field. 99 speed, 99 stealing, 99 base running aggression. Along with all those incredible hitting and fielding stats, Ricky Henderson clearly belongs in the A tier. Shawn Green doesn't have as great of fielding or speed as Ricky Henderson, but Shawn Green has even better hitting than Ricky. 121 contact versus right and 125 power versus right. He is going to absolutely demolish right-handed pitching, and that is what you're going to see the most of. And he could still hit lefties with 102 contact versus left and 100 power versus left. Shawn Green has one of the sweetest swings in the game. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the top 3 players in the program, the S tier players. The first one we got out is Don Sutton. That's a shocker. So many big time names that are pitchers in this program. Well, Don Sutton has 118 hits per 9, 100 walks per 9. He even has 102 Ks per 9. He's got a speed differential that makes a huge difference. He's got that 93 mile an hour fastball, 92 mile an hour sinker. Then he drops down to that 74 mile an hour screwball, then a 79 mile an hour knuckle curve, and an 86 mile an hour slider. He's got control over all of his pitches, and he's got insane break on all those breaking balls. Don Sutton has been an absolute animal thus far for me, and he is definitely the best pitcher in this entire program. The next guy might be a little bit of a surprise, or maybe not. Jorge Posada makes our S tier. He is probably the best catcher in the game, mostly because of that switch hitting. 100 contact versus right, 109 contact versus left, 112 power right, and 116 power left. Jorge Posada is going to be absolutely jamming home runs left and right in this game. Plus, he has 82 fielding and an 82 arm. Jorge Posada, to me, automatically makes the S tier because he is the best catcher in the game right now, and he may very well end up being the best catcher by the end of the year. And finally, I know I said I wasn't ranking any cards, but let's be real about it. Hank Aaron is the single best card in this entire program. Hank Aaron is an absolute monster. He plays first, second, third, left, center, and right field. The only thing he's missing is catcher and shortstop. He's got 119 contact versus right, 116 contact versus left, 125 power versus right, 116 power versus left, 99 vision, 93 discipline, 125 clutch. He's got 90 fielding, 91 arm, 87 accuracy, 85 reaction, then 80s in all the speed categories. He may very well be the best hitting card in the game, possibly the best card in the game, and definitely the best card in this program. So that's our whole tier list. We had a really rough time choosing who should go where. Basically, all these cards are really usable, so don't feel bad if you're a fan of a certain team or you really like a card already. Then stick with that guy, because it's not really a bad decision to keep any of these cards on your team. Let me know in the comment section below if you think that I got any of the tiers wrong. I would love to hear everybody's opinions. This has been an absolutely incredible program drop. These Legends of the Franchise cards are amazing. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.